So I'd like to call this meeting on October 13th, 2020 to order to begin. It's now 5:01. All three board members, health agents, and director of Board of Health are here. And I want to start by making a motion to accept the minutes from both September 16th and September 30th. Anybody second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Zayas, yes.
Mills, yes.
LeBlanc, yes. And I should really start out, I guess, by saying, in keeping with the ongoing emergency order from Governor Charlie Baker to limit gatherings and maximize social distancing, and under legislation passed to address remote board meetings during the emergency declaration, this meeting will be conducted over Zoom. Attendance by board members will be remote, and remote attendance shall count towards quorum. The meeting will be broadcast live and recorded on ECAT. To join a remote learning using your computer, click on the URL at the top of the meeting agenda or copy it and paste it into your browser. To join a remote meeting using your phone, call the number provided underneath the URL. Okay, so we did the minutes, and now we're going to talk about the variance on 250 Foundry Street. SERSD, a variance to allow the depth of the cover to be more than 36 inches to meet the finished grade.
So Lynn, I just want to note that we do have 3 people in attendance
Okay.
in the meeting, and I'm not sure what subject matter is interesting to them, but I do want to point out that if they do have any questions, they would use the question and answer feature at the bottom of the screen to submit their questions in writing, along with their name and their address for the minutes. And I will be monitoring throughout the meeting to see if anything pops up in that, and we'll forward the questions over to you.
Okay, thank you, Kristen.
Mhm.
Okay, so, who
So-
wants to tell us about this?
I can speak to it. I don't know if the engineer is in attendance. I can't see from my end. I believe it was Ray Willis.
He
Is
is.
there a Ray
So
Willis?
I will allow Ray to speak. Ray, you're
Okay.
muted on your end.
Good afternoon.
Hi, Ray.
We can hear you
How are you?
now. Yep.
Okay, so this is a situation where in preliminary review of the tanks that the regional is going to move and install, the depth of the tanks is going to be greater than 72 inches. And they are H20 loading tanks. To do this, you need a variance. It's not just a local upgrade approval. So bringing it to the board and letting the engineer speak on behalf of that. They are H20 loading tanks. We have put them deeper than 72 inches before, but it does require a variance to do so. So
Okay,
Ray,
any problems with that you?
no,
Yeah, so oh, sorry, got it.
no, go ahead, Ray.
All right, thanks for being here tonight to talk about this. Essentially what we're doing is part of this project. There are an existing septic tank and pump chamber, which is in the vicinity of the proposed theater addition. That tank right now is currently somewhere between 7, around below grade. In order to relocate those tanks and still maintain gravity from the existing plumbing system that section of the school currently uses, that's what's driving our tanks to be greater than 72 inches below grade. So as Mark was saying, the tanks are spec'd out as H20 loaded. As part of the shop drawing review, we'll make sure that the design of the tank cover is consistent with the amount of soil over it. In addition to that, we are proposing a minimum of 3 access covers to finished grade for each tank. So essentially, the school will be able to maintain pumping of the tanks, access to the pumps, what have you, right from the ground surface. So a lot of the times when this, the genesis behind Title V and having more than 36 inches of cover is mainly put in there primarily because they want to have people have the ability to access these tanks from a reasonable depth above grade. Once you start going like this, then access frame and covers to grade is warranted, and that's what we're doing. In addition to that, like I was referring to earlier, the existing tanks are at a depth of approximately 72 to 84 inches below grade. So we're not changing the whole layout of the system. It's just really because we're relocating these a little further away from where the building sewers are, and that's why it's driving the tanks down a little deeper.
Okay. Any problems anticipated with this variance?
No, it's just cleaning up the paperwork so it matches and it's okay. And instead of doing it after the fact, I'd like to get it done before the fact. That way they can move forward. Other calculations been met with the water usage in the school and the auditorium seating area that they've been building. So this is one of the getting to the near the end of the approvals for the tanks to be put in. So it's just making sure that all the paperwork is completed and the I's are dotted and the T's are crossed.
Okay. Thanks, Mark. Does anybody want to make a motion?
Yeah, I make a motion to approve the variance for 250 Foundry Street, Southeastern Regional School District, variance to allow the depth of the cover to be more than 36 inches to meet the finished grade.
I second. All those in favor?
Zayas, yes.
LeBlanc, yes. Chris, you there?
Chris, you need to unmute.
I bet you he's never been told that before. I'm sorry.
Chris, do you want to answer in the roll call vote?
Yeah, Mills, yes. Sorry, I switched computers.
That's fine.
All right, so we'll move on to the next order of business, which is talking, discussing the novel COVID-19 update.
Yes, so here we are again. We still have COVID with us. One of the documents I had hoped that the board would be able to review and weigh in on tonight is an idea that we had discussed at a previous meeting, which would be to provide some direction to residents, families regarding safe ways to approach Halloween. As the governor has stated on a number of occasions, it's unrealistic and it's counterintuitive to really strongly move ahead with prohibitions on Halloween. We all know people are going to want to celebrate Halloween. And if prohibitions are put in place, the fear is it will drive people indoors, which is the least safe option that is out there for our residents and for our young people especially. So the tone of the document that I had drafted for you tonight takes into account many of the recommendations that are on CDC's website for how to approach the holiday in a safe manner. I do hope and anticipate, because CDC has also put out guidance for how to safely approach other holidays that are coming up. My hope is that this will be able to build on this and be able to build on to our website with some of these additional, more graphic pieces. So the tone of this document is definitely much more about what we would encourage people to do. Staying outdoors, maintaining social distance, trying to set up any trick or treating so that you have a one-way flow, using walkways, using that fun caution tape, possibly trying to, make it special and fun, but COVID friendly. There is the option to add a second page to this document that would be definitely more of the avoid, but it would be pretty much just taking what's on CDC's website. And I think you kind of lose people sometimes. I'd rather almost have them follow the link and go to the fresh document and see what CDC is saying. But I will defer to whatever the board would like to see this document eventually look like, and what stance the board would like to take on the Halloween holiday.
in terms of stance, do you mean, you mean with the flyer that you've developed, or Halloween and prohibitions in general with Halloween?
Go ahead.
Because and I could be wrong, I thought last week we were gonna kind of move forward with just educating the public.
Yeah, and
But tell me if I'm wrong.
Nope, that's fine. I just want to confirm that that is still the board's position, that at this point in time, the best way for us to promote the public health is through education and through this flyer that we will be distributing with the schools. And I just want to confirm that's still the tone and the motion that the board wants to keep going.
So for me, I would say yes. Aria and Chris, do you feel otherwise?
Nope, I feel absolutely, I think this is the best way to proceed.
Yes.
Works for me.
Okay, then we will get the document finalized, saved in a format that we can all open and put out as soon as possible through the schools. Later this week, we'll be putting out the dates that we have set up for flu clinics. That will be the first two that we'll be having at the end of October and into November. Will be for school-age children over the age of 9 right now. I think I mentioned in our last meeting, we're working with CVS, and CVS is trying to secure the proper authorizations to be able to inoculate those under the age of 9, but at this time it is still 9 and up, and their families. This will afford an opportunity for our Easton school children to satisfy the requirement that they have a flu vaccine. As I think I mentioned in our last meeting, this is going to be a perpetual thing. This is not, it may be the result of COVID, but it is not part of an emergency order. It is actually part of an update to the vaccination requirements for children, for school attendance. So this is not going to be a one and done. This is going to be every year going forward, that the expectation is that school-age children will receive a flu vaccine prior to January 1, prior to coming back after the holiday break. The other pieces I just wanted to update you all on is we continue to be, myself and our public health nurse continue to be in daily contact. And I mean daily, I mean Saturday, Sunday, Monday, holidays, with the school department and the administration as we check and verify all of our test results that are coming through to us in Maven, and addressing any questions or concerns that they may have based on information that's being given to them by families. We are trying very hard to keep all of our K through 12 cases local and not sending them to CTC. We unfortunately are probably going to have to send familial contacts, which are a much lower level of interaction, over to CTC for monitoring, but we are making every attempt to keep and make our initial contacts for all of our cases and our contacts local. We really feel it's important. I think the board has expressed, that that's important as well, that our residents are getting served by us first and foremost, if at all possible, and that we're prioritizing that K through 12 age bracket over some other populations. Of course, we're always here for anyone with questions regarding their test results or their status. We are, I am happy to say we have 2 interns in the works. One is, I believe, going to start doing some hours tomorrow. The other is awaiting final paperwork and will be on board, I hope, by Monday. With the inflow of that, there is some inflow of talents that will allow us to move our website, our actual web page into kind of a more updated piece. We have incorporated, as of this afternoon, into the playbook that we constantly are referring to when we're talking about our K through 12 cases, to include a document from the CDC that is entitled, "What do I do while I'm waiting for my test results?" and another document that, a link to a document that the CDC produced that is, what do my test results mean? We were alerted to a very nice and very graphic and very interactive, just a very engaging document by one of our school nurses. And I found out I have to get permissions from DPH to incorporate that in. So it went through CTC, emailed me back. The Community Tracing Collaborative emailed me back and said that actually DPH owns the rights to that graphic, and I have to put an email out. I see other towns are using it, so I don't anticipate that it's going to be a problem, but we hope to incorporate that graphic as well into the playbook, as well as into the update of our website. Just to, I think there's a lot of benefit to kind of changing things around and giving the web page a refresh. And one of our interns that's coming on board has a background in some social media, as well as, her public health experience. So I'm looking forward to that happening in the next week or two as well.
And just for the community that might be watching, CTC, they may not know what that is, even though we all know it. I
Yes.
don't know if we want to mention what that is.
Yep, it's the Community Tracing Collaborative. It is the support that the governor put in place for local boards of health that has hired and trained contact tracers. We have the ability to send some of our cases over to them for them to do the follow-up, as opposed to us being trying to manage them all. As we saw in the spring, we're able to handle and able to give the attention to one case at a time. But when we start getting multiple cases in a given day and then have to create multiple contacts and the workload just becomes excessive, this was the solution that the state put in place. And as I said, we're trying very hard to, even if we do end up sending a family over to CTC, we're trying to make sure that their initial contact is with us, and that they are made aware of any local supports and where to get in touch with any of us if they're not getting what they need from CTC. We typically would refer people over, just because following somebody and calling every other day while the new cases are still coming in is just overwhelming to our small staff, especially when we're trying to do everything else that we need to do. Other than that, there was some talk today. I mean, we are seeing an uptick in contacts that are being sent over to us from other towns that are the result of some athletic interactions that are starting to take place indoors. The state mentioned today on the call that we just got off of that they are looking at, there are a number of clusters and outbreaks that are associated right now with hockey programs. And the state is going to be taking a look and possibly adjusting some of the guidelines that they have, especially for hockey. And then I heard basketball mentioned. I know lacrosse has moved indoors for some. So we're hopeful that it won't mean taking a step back. Maybe it'll clarify some of the requirements, I think is what most health agents and most coaches were looking for. But that's in the works. I don't have anything else on my update. I will save the number type of update in the PowerPoint that I gave you 2 weeks ago for that specific COVID meeting, unless you direct me otherwise and you want to see it every 2 weeks. Other than that, if anybody has any questions, comments, or has heard questions from the community, or the community's looking for information that we aren't putting in a place where they can find it, we are here to listen.
I do have a question about flu shots that I've been asked. People are delighted that we're having the flu clinic, but are you going to have the over 65 flu vaccine as well?
So the first 2 clinics are that we're having are for staff.
Mhm.
Then we'll be moving to families. And yes, they have assured me that they will bring doses of the high dose, high velocity, high impact, the over 65 senior vaccine with them. And we will definitely have that when we have the community clinic later in November.
So we do have over 65 staff. Should I have them wait for the community visit then?
Nope, we will have it at the,
Okay.
yes, yep.
Okay. All right.
And again, I'll just say, anybody in the waiting room or in the, watching the meeting, if there are any questions that you have, please type them into the question and answer feature and we will do our best to answer them. And if not tonight, we will get you an answer.
Okay, while we wait for that to happen, if it does happen, should we move on to the arborovirus, tick-borne and mosquito-borne illness? Anything going on there?
We're waiting for the hard frost.
Hard frost yet, so we're waiting for that. And we still haven't had any positive triple E mosquitoes. So knock on wood.
Yeah. Okay,
That's all the report on that.
great. Now the Easton Housing Authority fee waiver request. What's going on with that?
Brought, a couple of weeks ago, that request was brought in, and you had asked to kind of put it on the table until future meeting. I did ask around town hall what other departments do in terms of waiving the fees. And I think in the packet that was supplied to you, it looks like the building department does not waive their fees. Conservation did for one of them, I believe is what it says. I don't have it in front of me, I'm sorry. And then planning, they don't have anything to do with them, so.
I'd like to make a motion not to waive the fees.
I second. All those in favor?
Zayas, yes.
No, yes.
LeBlanc, yes. Okay, so the betterment application, we have, the first one is 44 Kevin's Way.
Yes, this is a new one that just came in. They're asking for the maximum, the new maximum, which is 45,000. Their system's in failure. We've already conducted the perk test. We actually hit the edge of the field and it's definitely flooded. So they do need to have it replaced.
Okay,
I'd like to make a motion to approve Kevin's Way.
Seconded.
all those in favor?
Zayas, yes.
Mills, yes.
LeBlanc, yes. Okay, and then 71 Highland Street to increase the amount of the betterment loan.
Yeah, so this one, they've originally got the 30,000, then they got a quote of 50,000. And unfortunately, during the construction of this leaching system that was put in, and it's already done, they encountered a what's known as a stump dump. They used to just take all the trees and dig a hole and put all the stumps in there and just let them decay over time. But you can't put a leaching field there. So when they were excavating out the soil, they encountered this and they had to take out many truckloads worth of stumps, and which also caused a very deep hole that had to be backfilled with sand. So they're looking for an additional $6,450.
Does anybody, and what, I don't have that screen in front of me. What did they already ask for?
They've already been approved for $50,295.57.
Okay.
And this additional $6,000 is in line with the rules and regulations of the betterment program.
Yes, I mean, we've had some instances where I know one came like almost at 80,000. It really depends on the site that's going on, and we just put like parameters, you know, 30, now we're going up to 45,000. But if there's ever a situation where a homeowner needs additional funds, we just simply ask that they write a letter or an email explaining why.
Okay, does anybody want to make a motion?
I make a motion to approve the betterment application for 71 Highland Street to increase the amount of the betterment loan.
Second.
All those in favor?
Zayas, yes.
Mills, yes.
LeBlanc, yes. And then lastly, for the betterment, we have 83 Short Street.
Oh, okay.
What's wrong?
No, nothing. At the end, I wanted to make a comment about the betterment program. Go ahead. I'm
Oh,
sorry.
okay. You want to do it now, Kristen?
No, go ahead.
All right, 83 Short Street to increase the amount of the betterment loan.
So they were approved originally for the $30,000, and they received a couple of quotes. In order to do the work, they're going with the cheaper quote, but they need an additional $7,428.30.
Okay. Any motions?
I make a motion to approve the betterment application for 83 Short Street to increase the amount of the betterment loan.
Second,
All those in favor?
Dice, yes.
Mills, yes.
LeBlanc, yes. And then Kristen, you were gonna say?
Yeah, I just wanted to make a comment on the betterment program. And I know, this just, we keep voting on these amounts and, Tim could probably pull some numbers. Tim, our most recent application to the Water Pollution Abatement Trust is for round 9. Is that correct?
I think, yes, it's
Yes, coming to the end of round 8.
correct.
So at the
At
conclusion,
town meeting, we would have to ask for additional funds.
well, we have 2 more that I got approval at the last town meeting, so we're okay but my point is, I believe we're at the point now where we're coming up on $3.25 million that has gone out via this program and been invested into homes in Easton. Families that may otherwise have really struggled to protect their health and the public health by repairing their septic systems. So when we, look at this program and we're like, okay, here's 3 here and here's a little bit here and here's a little bit there. In the time that we've been administering this program, it is actually very far reaching in what it has been able to accomplish. As Tim mentioned, I believe it's round 9. So I think we're going into that last approval that we have for $1 million. Generally, we ask town meeting to approve $1 million at a time, and then we borrow in $500,000 increments. But I think it's something that, the board, I just wanted to frame for the board and give a little bit of context of, this is a constant thing that we're doing, but it's a constant need from our community to be able to finance these through a means. And you look at some of these numbers and we know that, most of us could not figure out a way to pay for that if not for this program. So I just wanted to give a little framing to where we are with the program.
Thank you. Now, there's a limit though, a cap? Well,
As of right now, so it's the Water Pollution Abatement Trust. And basically the way it works is we borrow the money from the trust at 2% interest currently. We loan it out at 4%. And we're constantly paying back as our homeowners are paying back. And that's freeing up more capital for the state to be able to loan to us. So it's a revolving door fund that was established when Title V went through its major revision in '96. That has been sustained through the fact that it does charge the interest, and it does, actually, we used to get it at 0% interest. There had to be a shift a number of years ago where they started charging us 2%, and then we had to up what we were charging. But 4% over 20 years with no credit checks, no equity checks, to finance something that you really can't live without, has been a very beneficial program that I think the town can be very proud of.
Thank you. There was information I didn't have for sure. So are there any questions? Otherwise, we can go on to any complaints or agent reports or anything. Anything with question and answer?
There's nothing pending in our question and answer.
Okay. Anything else, guys?
No.
No?
No.
We're good? Okay, so we
We're
gotta get off.
busy, but we're good.
We gotta get off because it's Kerry's birthday. Tell her happy birthday, Chris. So I want to make a motion to conclude this meeting. It's 5:30.
When's the next meeting gonna be?
So our next meeting, if you want to meet on Mondays, we would aim for the 26th. Because we had said we were going to do every 2-week update. Actually, I am on vacation the 26th. But I could
27th?
do any other day that week.
27th?
27th, 28th, 29th, whatever works for the board.
I'm wide open.
All right, do-
Perfect.
So we're gonna go with what? The 29th,
27.
27th? Okay.
Sorry, I would jump in for the half hour, but I will be traveling, so
Oh,
that
don't worry about it.
is not predictable.
No worries.
Don't worry. So I'll make another motion to conclude the meeting.
Second.
5:31. Are we,
Seconded.
all those in favor?
Zayas, yes.
LeBlanc?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Thanks, guys.
Thank
Thank
you
you.
all.
All righty. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.